If we consider what it takes to learn something, we know that it takes steps. One step must be mastered before moving on. So, if we wanted to learn how to play the piano, for example, we first have to learn the layout of the keyboard, where the notes are, what the white and black keys mean. Then we have to practice our hand position before we can even begin to learn scales or practice chords, both of which will improve strength and dexterity in the hands. All that has to happen before we begin to really learn music and put the pieces together. Children must learn the same way. A child must be able to recall basic facts, like the fact that apple is spelled Apple. It's a fact, and it cannot be spelled differently. Once a child can remember that, then he can understand how the word apple is used in sentences and how to apply that so that he can understand and read about Johnny eating a juicy apple for lunch. In the same vein, children learn to count before they count objects. Then, once they understand the basic fact of what two means, they can apply that to understanding two apples. Then they can apply that information by putting two and two apples together for four apples. We learn there are certain facts and then understand how the facts are used so that we can then apply those facts to bigger challenges, like reading a book or working our way into multiplication. Logic dictates that a child who is hungry will never be able to start this process. His brain is too consumed with the emptiness and pain of hunger to waste any time on letters or numbers. In order to prevent that from happening, some schools offer children meals to fill those bellies and give children what they need to learn. But is there more? In fact, there is. There's a lot more. To learn those basic facts, like how to count and how apple is spelled, children must be able to sit still, attend, and hear directions. To write the number 4 or write the word apple, they must be able to hold a pencil, control it as they move it across the page, and understand how much pressure to put on the pencil to press it into the paper and leave a mark. These skills are all motor based, and without ample time to experiment with the body by moving the body in the trial and error of physical play, children's brains don't understand how their bodies work, which means they can't use their bodies for learning. Children must be able to sit still, attend, and hold a pencil to learn. Without these skills, learning is harder than it needs to be. But to sit still, children must have calm bodies. Calm does not come from sitting. Calm comes after moving. Once the brain has been satisfied with moving, it is ready for calm, then and only then. If the body has not moved enough, the brain will make the body move anyway. Children today do not move enough. How do we know? They are weaker than they have ever been. It takes them longer to run a mile, 90 seconds longer than it has ever taken children to run a mile. This alone means they are not moving enough, but there is more. Children have less core strength than they have ever had, meaning it is harder for them to control their bodies, including their arms and hands, to write. It makes it uncomfortable to sit in a chair at a desk, and an uncomfortable child will move a lot in search of comfort. Equally, a child can't multitask, so an uncomfortable child will not be able to listen to the teacher because his brain is fully consumed with finding comfort. When children don't move enough, their brains can't experiment with their bodies. They don't understand where their arms and legs are, what it takes to move them with control, and how much force it takes to operate them. If their brains don't have this information, their brains will seek it out in much less productive ways, like donkey kicks at circle time, body slamming friends when lining up to go outside, extreme rough play on the playground. These children aren't sitting still. They can't attend, and if they can't do these things, how can they have the patience and self-control to learn to hold a pencil? If they can't sit still, and they can't attend, and they can't hold a pencil, how are they going to recall the basic facts of numeracy and literacy, much less how to apply that information? We have a generation of children who are more sedentary than any generation before them. This is a health crisis, certainly, but it is far more than that. We can feed kids breakfast at school, but if they aren't strong enough to sit at a desk and hold a pencil, is writing apple going to be any easier? No. We can even make assumptions that this challenge is happening with only some children, but it is not. We have a generation of children who have grown up with screens and technology that keep them still. This lack of physical strength spans every race, every religion, and every socioeconomic background, and it is a national crisis. To fix this problem, we have to start with more moving during the school day. Gone are the long after school days filled with kick the can, bike riding around the neighborhood, and building forts with friends. This has been swapped for homework and an unending supply of screen based content. If we do not start with more moving in school, children will continue to struggle to attend, sit still, and learn. Children will be frustrated, teachers will leave the profession, and administrators will be left holding the bag. We simply cannot discount the importance of physicality to our children's learning anymore. We must argue for more recess, more PE, and more moving in lesson planning. This is the only way we will be able to build a generation that can operate appropriately in the world they must grow up to run.